Welcome to the GTN Show.
Yeah, welcome. We are only 9,000 subscribers away from 1 million.
So less than 9,000.
Exactly. So thank you if you already are subscribed and supported the channel. But if you're already watching this and haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please do so now, because we've got some really exciting content coming this year. And the more support from you guys, the more and the better stuff that we can create.
What do we get for 1 million?
I think we get a cool plaque thing that we'll definitely have to get a photo with.
Yeah, and trophy or something.
Yeah, just the kudos. But anyway, James, what's going on in the show this week?
Cassandre Beaugrand has a new coach, and the T100 have announced their hot shots for 2025. Plus, we discuss the IRONMAN World Championships venue again.
Right, kicking off, did you see that Sam Long got married?
Yeah, congratulations, Sam.
He did. But he actually, in the morning before the wedding, did 15 200s with Lionel Sanders and Tyler Butterfield.
You see, I made a joke the other day when we were filming a video, and I said that triathletes almost never take a day off, even on their wedding day. And Mark was like, I think they take their wedding day off. Case in point.
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah, just. But anyway, that's cool. Good to see. And congratulations.
Good for you, man. Congratulations to them.
Also, wedding bells, I guess, on the horizon. Beth Potter and her partner Dave have got engaged.
Congratulations.
A birthday to remember. Clearly it was on her birthday that he
proposed.
Yeah. And then also British para tri-duo Claire Cashmore and Dave Ellis also have got engaged. So congratulations to
love is in the air. Congratulations to all of them. Also, we noticed on social media, Cassandre Beaugrand has moved to Girona and changed coach immediately after the most successful year of her career, which is an interesting decision.
Bold, isn't it? Yeah, so she was previously coached by actually my old coach, Gav Smith from Loughborough.
Had more success with her than he did with Mark.
True, really. This is very true. Maybe that's why she's moving on. She's heard about some of the athletes he used to coach. Anyway, so yeah, she's moving on to Girona and is going to be coached by Martin Van Riel's coach.
Yeah, Glenn Poulenis of the PTC crew. She said, it's never easy to change something when it's working so well, but I've always followed my heart and owned my choices. After the Olympics, I decided I needed some sun again and left the UK. Now, that's a good reason to leave Loughborough because there's not a lot of it there. The past 2 years have taught me so much about myself, both as an athlete and as a human. I met so many amazing people, which has made the decision even harder. It's been tough at times, but I'll always cherish the experience I've had. But yeah, she's looking forward to some time in the sun in Girona, and I don't blame her.
Very cool. And one final bit that's spotted just before Christmas, Santa Sebi was doing the rounds.
Santa Sebi.
Yeah, because he was handing out a very cool sponsorship to Mika Noodt.
He's the Red Bull Centre. I did see this. Yeah, he went and handed out a Red Bull contract to Mika Noodt, which is a pretty cool Santa gift if you're going to get one as a pro athlete.
Well, there we go. See, Santa Sebi.
Yeah, pretty cool. Congrats to Mika Noodt on their new contract. In your trial news this week, it's a little bit old news because we're catching up on some of the news that happened kind of over the Christmas break. But the T100 have announced their hot shots for 2025. Now, there's T100 contracts, which go to people who automatically qualified through ranking. Then there's also these hot shots, which are basically contracted athletes who get their contracts because they earned them. Basically, everyone wants to see them race. And then there's T100 wildcards, and these are just slotted in as and when needed for races when their contracted athletes don't fill all the slots for that race. So they might just get one race, they might get 3 or 4, they might even get more and more, like we saw Carl Smith do last year, where he was a very successful wildcard, about as successful as a wildcard could get. So these are the hot shots for 2025, and quite a list. Between the 8 athletes, they've actually won 8 Olympic medals and 12 overall elite world triathlon championship medals, which is a lot.
I'd say they've earned their hot shot
status.
Yeah,
I think they've all earned the hot shot status.
Okay, yeah, cool. So on the women's side, we have Laura Madsen, who actually did feature in some of the T100 events this past year.
Yeah, she did 10 middle distance races, so kind of a middle distance specialist.
Yeah, and then we have Kate Woff, we have Jess Learmonth, we got Taylor Spivey.
Yeah, so 4 of them on the female side, 3 of them from short course, and this is no surprise. The year after an Olympic year, you're going to get a swell of short course athletes moving up to the middle distance, and this is exactly what we've seen, and never has there been a bigger incentive for for short course athletes to make that leap up to the middle distance.
Well, I think we'll get on to that discussion in a second as well.
Yeah, because the men are also.
Yeah, so we've got Hayden Wilde, we've got Leo Berger, we've got Vincent Louis, and also Morgan Pearson. So bar Laura Madsen, she kind of screws this one up. They are all short course WTCS athletes.
Making the jump. And I think pretty much all of those names we just listed are going to be hot shots in the T100 series. I think I'm pretty excited to see all of them race and see how they do in the middle distance. Obviously, Hayden Wilde just got second at 70.3 World Champs, so we know he's going to race well. Leo Berger also has proved himself over the 70.3 distance, as has Vincent Louis. We haven't really seen him race T100.
Think about it. When did Hayden blow up during 70.3 Was it around 17 or 18K?
Yeah, it was after the 100K mark, definitely.
But what I'm thinking is he held in for about 17 or 18K and then catastrophically blew up. So actually the T100 distance
might suit him perfectly.
Yeah, and then he just blow up just to go across the line.
Or maybe just push a little bit harder and blow up slightly
or he'll just do
again.
Bit of specific training. Anyway, it does also beg the question about the distance and the sort of athletes it's attracting, because it does seem to be trending more towards the short course athletes. And we saw a lot of, big discussion around this on social media, in particular On Your Left Triathlon, put up all sorts of posts and polls and things coming in. So one of just a snapshot, someone commented, the T100 series is just ITU all over again. Clearly this was also PTO/T100's plan from the start. There aren't actually any long course people. This is why so many Ironman guys wanted PTO to have an Ironman distance race in the series to level the playing field / keep some of the ITU people out.
I kind of agree. In fact, I've said this before on the show, that they should have, at the very least, more challenging courses rather than WTCS-style courses where it's multiple laps on a flat route and it kind of just, it all comes together, it's all kind of the same, predictable, etc. They should have really challenging courses. And we saw a little bit of it with the Alcatraz route, was fairly challenging, but still laps and still not quite long-distance racing. And then we've also said, why don't they stick to the T100? Why don't they have the escape from Alcatraz? Why don't you actually do the traditional escape from Alcatraz distance?
Yeah.
And then put an Ironman in there, a long distance one in there. And make the person who wins the series the best triathlete over all the distances, as opposed to the best triathlete over just 100K distance.
I couldn't agree more, James. And I'm not going to bore the viewers by stating my argument again.
If we rule the world.
Anyway, sorry. I mean, we are very excited about all of this, and we'll be tuning because it is really exciting. So adding to those hot shots, we have the automatic qualifiers who have confirmed their spots already. So we've got Taylor Knibb, Ashley Gentle, Julie Deron, Flora Duffy, Lucy Byram, India Lee, Imogen Simmons, and Paula Findlay on the women's side. Yeah,
notably no Kat Matthews on that list. There's also, then on the men's side, we've got Martin Van Riel, Carl Smith, Rico Bogan, Sam Long, Matthias Magira, Peter Hemmerich, Yuri Kulin, and Fred Funk.
Yeah, now interestingly, Sam Long was quite public about his decision or making that choice, because you could argue the T100 distance doesn't really suit him and the sort of athletes it attracts, because he is at the back of the field coming out of the swim and it's very hard to get back in the race. Interestingly, he's opted to go for the T100 again. And he put this post up saying, I've signed with T100 for another year. I believe this tour is the best thing to further my development but as an athlete, and especially the swim. By competing in the races that highlights my weaknesses, it will strengthen me. And he goes on. But very interesting, because I really did think he would just go towards the Ironman distance.
Go to the Ironman and the Ironman Pro Series, like some others have done. Now, there's some notable names that are not on the automatic qualifiers, not contracted athletes yet, that have clearly decided to focus on Ironman. Sam Ledlow is not there either. Laura Phillip is not there. They're focusing on the Ironman distance instead of the T100. So despite all the money available for the T100 series, people are still foregoing it for the Ironman Pro Series, which means the Ironman Pro Series has done exactly what they were hoping it would do. And we still got the sport completely fractured, don't we, Mark?
We do.
Which is so frustrating. Anyway.
And it probably leads us on to our next topic in the show. And we're kind of rediscussing a big headline that we've brought up many times over the past year or so.
Well, because it's still not resolved. What is going to happen with the IRONMAN World Championships? Or the location of the IRONMAN World Championships, shall we say? Because it is still split over Nice and Kona, still gender split, men's and women's. And that is supposed to happen until 2026. However, Ironman sent out a poll at the end of last year to, well, we're not really sure who they sent it to.
Well, they sent it to some select media. It's interesting because, some people that have done tens of Ironman events haven't received this
and
email.
other people who haven't done an Ironman for 5 years have received the same poll.
Now, so in this poll, I'm just going to abbreviate the suggestions. They had 2 days at Kona, 2 days at rotating venues, a single day at Kona, obviously offering fewer slots compared to 2024, 2 days at Kona, Nice, as it currently is, sort of like a split venue, or a single day at rotating venues, like the 70.3 Worlds kind of used to do.
Yeah. So, people who got the poll, which we don't know who they were able to choose between any of those. And a few other questions were in there too. But let's rewind to why this has all come about and why this is still being discussed, because you would think that it's been decided. It's the end of discussion, right?
Well, let's, as you say, rewind, take a little trip down memory lane. So, the IRONMAN World Championships has been in Hawaii since 1978, and specifically in Kona since 1980. Now, in 2020, it was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic to February of 2021. That didn't happen. They actually postponed it further to May 2022, where they actually had to host it in St. George, Utah, due to travel restrictions and various things. They actually had 2 IRONMAN World Championships this year because they had the event in May, which was technically the 2021 World Champs, and then in October, they had the 2022 IRONMAN World Championships.
Yeah, but Ironman allowed those people who qualified for that May race in St. George, which wasn't in Kona, and technically they had qualified for a race in Kona, to defer their entry to Kona. So they were then had this kind of backlog of athletes that had qualified to race in Kona, but hadn't yet had the chance to race in Kona. And therefore, we saw a double race in Kona.
Well, we had, I think it was over 5,000 athletes in Kona that year, when you compare it to a little over 2,000 normally in previous years. So over double the number of athletes. So they had to split it over 2 days. We had the women's race first and then the men's race 2 days later, which seemed like a good solution.
It worked really well. It was a really impressive event, and the women got a lot of coverage, and it was really exciting. Both races were really exciting, and both races were really well attended. Except that the local community absolutely hated it. Completely shut down their town for 2 full days, and they couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it does bring up a lot of tourism and just to the general tourism industry out there, which is fantastic. But as James says, shutting down that whole section of the island for 2 days is quite disruptive. Now, I guess we all left the island assuming they're going to carry on with that, and I think Ironman did, and they started to already have rolled out slots in some previous qualifying races, and they set off with the intention of carrying on with this format. However, the Islanders and the mayor turned around and said, this is not happening again.
So then they found themselves in a really tricky position where they'd given out way too many slots to have the race on a single day the following year already, but they couldn't have it on 2 separate days. So their solution was to have it in 2 separate venues, one in Nice and one in Kona the following year. So they split it. The men went to Kona and the women went to Nice. And that was how it was supposed to stay until 2026. They literally said at the time, this is it. This is how it's going to be until 2026. Nice is signed as the host venue, and so is Kona until 2026. But then they got a new CEO, Scott Deroux, and he's come in and gone, well, if nobody's happy with this, and we really don't know whether everyone's happy with this. Now, we like to think that we've got our ear to the ground in triathlon circles, and listening to the comments of various people at races and the general triathlon industry, our conclusion is that we really don't know whether people are happy with this or not. It is, you can get every opinion. People are saying that they absolutely love it. They think it's brilliant having 2 separate races, that the women having their own event is so brilliant, that having a race in Nice was amazing. Then you get other people that are saying if it's not in Kona, it doesn't count, and that Kona will always be Kona. And
well, I think we actually should just pause. You just scroll down into the comments below this video right now, and you'll be able to see.
Yeah, everyone will be going, no, definitely should
be. There'll be completely opposing decisions and comments on this.
Definitely, there will be.
What do you think? Like, I'm absolutely torn, to be honest. I have really enjoyed going to a new venue like Nice and the challenges that it brings. I've said it before, not only from an athlete performance standpoint, but also the technological sort of advancements, brands having to push things in different areas than they're ordinarily used to. But I do understand the heritage of Kona, and that is very evident reading the comments.
I have not changed my opinion since they very first announced this, that I 100% agree that it cannot and should not stay in Kona indefinitely, that the Ironman does not have to be inextricably linked to Kona for history forever more, because that's where it started, that they can rove the World Champs and it'll be just as big. And at the same time, I wholeheartedly disagree with having a split World Champs. I think the entire triathlon world and the entire triathlon's world's eyes should be on the World Champs in the same place at the same time, men and women, not necessarily on the same day at the same time, because
you did get some 2 trips out of it this year.
I did. I got to go to Nice and Kona, so on that front, yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, I totally agree.
But I do think that there's a better solution than the current one.
Well, unsurprisingly, it's been very active on Slow Twitch around this.
I bet it has.
If you're not aware, well, I'm sure you know what Slow Twitch is. So they have put this questionnaire up. There's been a lot of different opinions on there. A couple I was just going to read out here. So Mathematics said, let's think about this as a business. Of the options given, which one presents the greatest return for lower risk? Kona probably has the greatest monetary return, but also the highest risk, literally getting kicked off the island. The rotating venue is a financial upside in that you can have venues bid to host a new group of participants interested in the venues, etc. In my opinion, the big risk here is what happens to Kona. Does it just become another Ironman? For this reason alone, I can't see MDOT moving away from Kona entirely. I think that most likely the scenario is 2 days, Kona and a rotating venue, gives the stability of the Kona boost and still captures the market of a rotating venue.
Interesting. And P. Vi says, Ironman has created this whole Kona myth, feeding us again and again with overdramatic stories about the place. The underlying harsh reality is that the course itself is so boring and the only thing worth talking about is the island. Yet now, after we've been bottle-fed for years, the epic NBC broadcasts and impressive YouTube movies, Ironman has stuck itself into its own storytelling. An Ironman World Championships can't be a World Championships if it's not in this magical place. It's not about the sport anymore. As far as I'm concerned, not a fan at all of having an extremely remote location like Hawaii as a fixed place for the World Championships, which I don't disagree with, actually. And yeah, there's a few other opinions, like splitting the location or even days means there's more spots to fill, which means the World Championships, which is supposed to be elite and exclusive, is less elite and exclusive if you have twice as many slots.
And one of the comments was, it took the shine off of the fact that they had qualified for the World Champs.
Yeah.
It was going down so far in the roll downs.
Many people feel that you can't let go of that Kona dream, that Kona is so iconic. Others can't actually abide the extreme cost and the remoteness of Kona, so they feel like you can't stick to Kona. Many feel that Kona itself is too iconic and too steeped in history to just abandon to the history books and never go there again. And then others feel that a separate men's and women's race is way too important to just abandon and go back to a single day where women are racing at the same time as men and get less coverage.
But then I don't like the idea that we'd be in different venues at different times. I'd like to bring the women and men back together in the same
I agree, absolutely. I have my own solution, and I've said this before. I feel like they should take a leaf out of the Olympics book and every 4 years go back to Kona, have twice the prize money maybe, make it the epic World Championships that it is now, and you are the Kona champion. And the other 3 years in between that, rotate the World Champs around. You're still an Ironman World Champion for the year. You have a new venue. We have a new course to talk about and who it's going to suit and not suit. You have a new venue to go to. You support new cities, etc. And then you still go back to Kona every 4 years and have this massive epic day, maybe even 2 days if they'll allow you every 4 years to do 2 days. You could keep Kona happening every year. So those people who will never qualify but want to experience Kona still get to go do the Ironman in Kona. It's just not a World Championships every year. How's that for a solution? Again, if Mark and I ruled the world.
I think you nailed it. I think it's a great idea. Well, send your suggestions in, leave them in the comment section down below, because we could just talk about this forever, really, couldn't we?
We could, yeah.
Moving on anyway, a friend of the channel, Ben Hansell, has just completed a double Ironman. Now, Ben actually lives locally to the GTN HQ and actually messaged me about this, wondering if I wanted to come along in a couple of weeks' time. And then on a whim, decided to do it this weekend in possibly the bleakest weather we've had in the UK for quite a while.
Yeah, really bad. It wasn't the weather that made him do it this weekend. Were you like, oh, shucks, I missed that double Ironman I was going to do with you. Oh, that's a pity.
I was actually busy, although otherwise I would have gone along. But it sounded like it was pretty tough as a result.
Yeah.
Now, he was raising money for charity. Well, in fact, for his wife, Zoe, who is hopefully going to have some breakthrough cancer treatment, which is currently only available in Europe. Now, the story behind this, despite a lump being discovered in her cervix during a routine check whilst pregnant, smear tests results came back inconclusive. And then 8 months later, they discovered that actually she had a rare form of cervical cancer that wasn't easily detectable through a smear test. Now, she is hopefully going to have this breakthrough cancer treatment in Europe. It's dendritic cell therapy, it's called. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
They've got 2 young daughters, so they're hoping that this treatment will extend their time as a family and her with her children.
Yeah, so this past weekend, Ben did do his double Ironman in very less than ideal conditions. If you do want to support that, we'll put a link down below this where you can get involved and support Ben and his wife in that cancer treatment, raising money for that.
It's already raised £6,000 just this weekend. Incredible.
Well, double Ironman too. Oh, goodness me. Good work, Ben.
Well, moving on now to Try Spy. Guess the athlete. And last week we gave you this.
Yeah, moustache. Yeah, and Roy GSX 600K7 said, Try Spy, easy as Max Newman. Except it wasn't.
We had a couple of Max Newmans. We had Mathis Margier. We had a Matt Hansen as well.
Have you? I've never seen Matt Hansen.
No, I didn't think that one threw me a little bit.
Yeah.
What I did expect us to get quite a few of, we had Sebastian Austin. I'm going to go with Go Chicken Go, Josh Amberger. What's the Go Chicken? Am I missing something?
I'm not sure. No.
I like it anyway, great.
Yeah, a few others said Josh Amberger or Martin Van Riel. I don't think you can put 2 choices. You just list all the pros in that case.
Keep Left said, it's Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, yeah, well, good shout, because technically he's a triathlete now. He did an Ironman in his backyard. But no, it wasn't him. We had a Ben Knut, another Josh Amberger. That moustache has got to be Ben Knut, right? Martin Van Riel? No.
Wow.
No.
The correct answer, only a few of you got this right. Ishan Kumar, George Gasso, Stefan Marzucci. It is Gregory Barnaby.
It was Gregory Barnaby.
Well, it's a name that's just coming through and maybe not everyone's familiar with. But
Now you know what he looks like, his moustached face. This week we have this image. If you think you know who that is, leave it in the comment section down below.
Do your best.
Say what? It's all right, looking at some comments you guys have put under our videos this past week. If you hadn't noticed already, we put out the GTN Norseman documentary, which is actually from a good few years ago now.
Confused a few viewers.
Yeah, but from obviously the whole change in ownership and everything, we now have some GCN Plus documentaries where they used to be available to put on our YouTube channel, and the Norseman documentary, lucky for you, is one of those.
Yeah, now if you did watch our previous YouTube video, which is different, and you enjoyed that, because that got a lot of views actually, then you certainly going to enjoy this because it's got an amazing story, and it's not about me, just to be clear, not just gloating about mine.
He is in it.
I am in it.
It's not all about him.
The story is more about another chap, Ole, who, he has a remarkable story. It's very moving. And actually we had so many comments about him and his story. And I thought I'd read this one out. So this one came from Cute Neko. GTN, can you do a follow-up with Ole? I would love to see what he's been up to these days with triathlon endurance racing. Such a stellar dude. And that got 121 likes. But there were loads of other comments similar that also got tens, hundreds of likes under them.
So have you called him yet?
Well, actually, I have been in touch with him. We often are. We've stayed in touch on mostly Instagram and stuff. And I have asked him whether he wants to join for a little call. So watch his space. We'll probably get him on the show in a couple of weeks' time. And it'd be lovely to follow up with him. And his kid's obviously grown up quite a bit since, 2019. So yeah.
That much requested update is coming soon.
It's coming soon. Also, we had a video this weekend around alcohol. Is it good or bad for your fitness? I think we all know the answer to this one. But I took on a very valiant test for you guys in the name of research.
Yeah. Andrew McAllister saying, Mark, your commitment to research at the GTN Christmas party in support of this video is noted.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have to twist his arm to have fun at the Christmas party.
You maybe have to twist my arm.
Have to twist his arm to get up the next day and do that run session. So thank you for doing that.
That's all right.
Yeah. Beers are on us next time. You don't have to buy them. If you ever want beers again.
But jokes aside, obviously that first part is a bit of fun, kind of interesting.
GTN does science kind of level of science, but yeah, it was interesting.
But there was some interesting insight actually off the back of some of the information we share in the latter half of the video. It's very interesting.
It's well worth a watch if you haven't watched it already. Also coming up on the channel later this week, we have the evolution of the sports watch, which we kind of take for granted these days, but it has quite a storied history of how it's developed and how it's grown and how it's come to be this supercomputer on your wrist. So watch out for that coming this weekend on the channel.
Cool. And if you enjoyed today's show, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. We're almost at 1 million.
1 million.